What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Do a Podcast. I'm Ryan,
And I'm Anthony.
and
Quack,
today,
quack, 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 quack. Let's do it.
oh my gosh, that got me all stressed out. On that note,
I was sitting on that one. I did not tell Ryan I was doing that. So I was like, I'm gonna do this thing.
it's perfect, though. Absolutely perfect. So we're talking about Howard the Duck today, but of course, before we get into it, before we do anything else, I am ready to drink this beer. So today I am drinking from Bricks City. Logarithm, something like that. Sure, why not?
Logarithm,
No,
like
it's not.
like a logarithm.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's a contentional pilsner. I saw the name and immediately thought I'd be getting a lager just to kind of go with it, but it's a pilsner. Yeah, why not? I guess
Pilsner's lagers, are they in the lager family?
maybe, I don't know.
Good job for Google.
Right. That is a 4.6 APV 0 IBU from, well, like I said, Brick City over in New Jersey. It says one of the world's classic beer styles. Logarithm is our first contentional pilsner. For those unfamiliar with the term contentional pilsner, this is a lot to read. I'm not going to read all of this. Pretty much, it's a specific style of German and Bohemian to make this pilsner. Okay, interesting.
Pilsners are lagers, by the way.
Oh, there we go.
Like all pilsners are lagers, but not all lagers are pilsners, which makes sense.
Does make sense. This has 366 check-ins, which is not that many. I think compared to most places, with an average of 3.92 rating. So
pretty good.
Yep. So Anthony, what are you drinking today?
So, in the spirit of us watching this movie, I am drinking Nerd Alert from Turning Point Brewing, Turning Point Beer here in good old Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. So, let me crack this can open and I'll talk about it a little bit. So, I got spatter on my monitor here.
And I feel like with Turning Point, you always get the splatter, like.
Because they top it off real good there.
Yeah, they make sure it's nice and full, that's for sure.
But here. I'm going to figure out where I put my phone with my notes. And I have notes to follow here. So Nerd Alert is a 10% triple dry hopped triple IPA. So 2 triples. Hopped with Idaho 7, Vic Secret, and Mosaic Lupulin Powder. Bottom left. It says bottom left. I don't know what it's referring to in the description. It's bottom left.
Bottom left.
To the bottom left.
Bottom left.
I'm reading somebody's post.
I don't say anything over there. Sorry.
I was reading somebody's post. Okay, so this is the actual real deal. Okay, so this is what Turning Point Beer has to say about it instead of some rando that I read their post. So they say, we've done a triple IPA, we've done a double dry hop triple IPA, and now we've completely lost our minds and done a triple dry hop triple IPA. This super juicy, super hazy, triple dry hop, triple New England IPA is busting with flavor from Vic Secret, Idaho 7, and Mosaic Lupulin Powder. So basically the same thing, but a lot of pomp and circumstance, more or less. It's coming in with a 4.2 on the Untapped scale there. 2,500 entries. 27 in the past month here. It was just I think this was released previously. It was just re-released back in late April. So I'm gonna do my pour here.
Go for it.
Don't pour over my keyboard.
Oh geez.
Yeah, I'm just making a mess.
Oh gosh. You can watch Anthony do this terrible, terrible pour over
So
on
bad.
on Facebook, on Twitch, and on YouTube. Just look up "Let's Do a Podcast" on Facebook. Let's Twitch a pod on Twitch, and let's do a podcast on the YouTubes.
So we'll let that settle a little bit, and then we'll put the rest in.
It's definitely very hazy, which is turning point. So
The way I like it.
yeah. I'll go ahead and we can talk about some movies because we are moving on to our next segment. Actually, we didn't even talk about our first thoughts on the beers. My bad. I'm on a mission apparently.
On a mission from beer. This is very orangey, very citrusy.
And mine is very, very flavorful for a Pilsner. I feel like Pilsners are pretty. I mean, I like a Pilsner, but like they don't really tend to have like fruitiness and those kind of things. But I don't know.
This
This
just like crispness.
Yeah, yeah. And this is definitely kind of has like a fruit feel to it, but it doesn't say anything about that. But it might just be because it's a conventional Pilsner, so it's a little bit different just from a regular Pilsner.
Yeah.
But all right, so now of course throughout the episode we will drink the beers, and then at the end we'll give our ratings of the beers.
The beer, we talk about the beer. We drink the beer, we talk about the beer.
We like beer, we don't care who knows. So next segment is
movies. You said movies, right? We talk about movies.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about.
Did you see Guardians of the Galaxy yet?
I have not watched any new movie.
Dude, bring tissues. That's all I'm gonna say.
I've heard it's very sad. People said if you're a animal lover, that's gonna be a hard movie for you. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. It's good, but I teared up a few times.
Ooh, excuse me. That was, I don't know if y'all heard, but that was a gnarly burp. Yes, so that's on my list of movies. And then the other current movie that's out, which is I guess not even current anymore because you can stream it, is The Menu, which I know that you and your wife have told us many times that we need to watch it. I'm gonna watch it this week or weekend. I was like, I'm ready to watch it.
Starring it's featuring the star of Renfield, Nicholas Hoult, and Anya Taylor-Joy, who is in other stuff as well. And Ray Fiennes, and it's just freaking awesome.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good. It has good reviews, so I'm excited to watch that.
I'm curious about your perspective of that movie after you watch it, having worked in the food industry.
Right. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Of course, everybody said the same thing after the show Bear. Everybody was just like, "Oh, how is it? Is it actually that realistic? Is it that close?" I'm like, I mean, of course, it's over exaggerated, but it was pretty almost triggering at times where I'm like, "Oh, geez, I remember these days where it's like you just so busy and you're yelling at everybody." I was like, I don't miss those days.
Yeah. Well, I would hope you would not find The Menu to be realistic in the least.
I hope not. Just from the commercials, I've never worked or been put in a situation like that. So
yeah. Yep. You gotta let me know when you watch it so I can get your thoughts, because that's just the bonkers movie.
Definitely. So some movies that are announced and coming out are The Meg 2.
Oh my goodness. I just watched the first one for the first time finally.
You just watched it? Oh
yeah,
man.
I'm way behind.
I watched the first one in theaters. I was so excited. It's ridiculous, but it's a good. I thought it was good.
I can't remember in the first one if does Rainn Wilson's character die in the first one?
It's been so long. I don't remember.
But have they released a trailer for The Meg 2?
Yes, looks like the trailer is out for it.
All right, is Jason Statham coming back for that?
I haven't watched the trailer. I haven't even looked at the cat. Let me pull up the cast list. Uh, Jason Stath. Oh my gosh, why am I terrible at reading?
Jason
Stath-
Statham.
Statham. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff Curtis.
Yep, he's coming back. All right.
Yep. We have quite a few people returning, quite a few non-people returning. But then, of course, we have the movie Barbie. I have not watched the trailer for it. I can't imagine, honestly, watching this unless my wife wants to watch it. Then we'll watch it.
Oh, that movie's gonna be awesome. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man, that movie looks freaking awesome.
Oh, I'll have to watch the trailer. Apparently in June we're getting The Flash.
Dude, have you heard about the previews for that movie?
No, I haven't seen any previews for like any of these movies.
So you got to see the trailer. You got to number one, you got to check out the trailer because Michael Keaton is back as Batman. That's all I gotta
Ooh.
say.
That'll be good.
It's basically DC's multiverse of madness is what it looks like.
We'll see how it goes.
But good. And it basically, not, you got to go watch the trailer. But basically, it seems like Barry is going back to try to save his mom. And in the course of things, he makes it so he changes the world. So basically, there's no people with superpowers on Earth anymore. Batman is Michael Keaton, so we're back in that Batman universe, or back in the 1992 Batman universe, or Batman 1989. And instead of Superman, it's Supergirl. And so we basically go back to the events of the first Superman movie with Henry Cavill, but that Superman is not here. It's Supergirl, and she is looking angry. So she did not grow up in Kansas. Let's just say that.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I'll have to watch the trailer. And just a few more real quick. Twisted Metal is coming out, the movie.
They've been talking about making that one forever. I'm surprised they're finally actually getting that one out of development hell.
Yeah, apparently.
I remember when that game was like a big deal and everybody was loving that thing. That was
Man,
like back.
That was back in my childhood. I loved that game too. That will apparently be in July.
I'm curious who's playing the clown.
Right. And a last one for today is we have a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie coming out.
I did see that. I think it's too soon since the last movies.
I haven't watched
again.
I haven't. Yeah, I see that it's animated. I haven't watched the trailer yet. Like I just saw this while looking up stuff today.
Yeah. This one looks like they're animated in the same way as Into the Spider-Verse, using the same animation style.
Yeah, we'll see. Is all I'm gonna say about that till I watch the trailer, and hopefully Seth Rogen's in it. Oh no.
Is he gonna do his Donkey Kong treatment where he's like, no, I don't do voices, I just do my voice as Seth Rogen and that's it?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna dog it because you know what? Who knows? But
if it doesn't feature Raphael just yelling "damn" for like half the movie, I will be displeased.
Right. I hope it. Yeah.
I've never heard of the original. So.
I think as long as it's not too kiddish. I think I'd be more okay with it, but I'm just worried because it's animated and it's from Nickelodeon Animation Studios. It may not be what we want. So
not my Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. All right, Anthony, what do you got for us for beer news and events?
So for beer news, on the beer news front, I lost my page for beer news. On beer news, we have Hop and Sting. Hey, they're in stores now. So you may have seen them in Total Wine, but now they're in grocery stores. So it's good to see them out there. They've actually got some new IPAs out there that I've been trying. There's one called Masterminds. I don't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast or not. I know we didn't do it as one of my beers of the week, but this new Masterminds. I did talk about that last time, didn't I? Because the money for that's going to Alzheimer's research.
Yeah.
They're giving money to charity with some of their beers, but like there are other big ones that are hitting the shelves. Wiser Time, Miracle, Aluminum Cowboy, Texas IPA. They're all out there. So go check out their stuff. Particularly try the Masterminds IPA. The money from that goes to Alzheimer's research. It's good stuff there. There's also, I think I saw an article talking about what had happened, like some of the great stuff that happened out at the Grapevine Main Street Festival. I don't remember if we talked about that last time or not, but I didn't get to make it out there. But it seems to have been a good time. Also, just recently, there was also the Pops and Props. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make it to that either. So if you're out there looking for me, I'm sorry I didn't get out there. I had every intention of getting out there, and I just couldn't make it for reasons. So hopefully you had a good time out there, and hopefully they raise good money for the Fort Worth Aviation Museum, because they do a good job upholding the aviation history of Fort Worth, which is very storied, and it's good to kind of keep that stuff in Fort Worth so it doesn't kind of end up in museums elsewhere. So, but coming up in events, though, we do have a few great things. So this Saturday, if I can find my button here, we have things I'm going to hit. So this Saturday, May 13th, we have 1003 Brewers, their 10-year anniversary up in Sherman. Go check that out. More importantly, for a lot of people, Mother's Day is this Sunday. What better way to celebrate your mom than to take her to your favorite brewery?
Right.
Yes. So Martin House and Denton County Brewing, they're both doing Mother's Day celebrations. I think Denton County Brewing is doing a mimosa brunch out there. So if you want to bring your mom out there, they're doing that sort of thing as well. Martin House is doing an event for the moms as well. Going up even further, May 20th, the following weekend, Martin House is doing Creed Fest. Unfortunately, I'd be out of town, so it's a bummer. They can't take me higher. So when they ask, can you take me higher? They cannot take me higher. I still don't see Sourfest on the calendar, and I was telling Ryan earlier how distressed I am that I'm not seeing it yet. So I can't remember when it happened last year, but I feel like it's already happened. It should have already happened by this point. So May 27th, weekend after that. So 2-3 weeks. 90s prom night out at Lakewood Brewing. Some 90s prom dancing.
Yeah, go for
it. Of interest to me, May 29th is Celestial's taco eating contest.
Oh.
Yes. I don't have any details on that. Go to beerandbigd.com. He's got the details there. He's got all the links. Go check his site out. He does all the research. He should reap all the rewards for finding all this information for you guys. So go to beerandbigd.com. He's got the latest in Dallas-Fort Worth beer news, and he's got catalogs all the Dallas-Fort Worth beer events. He's got the deets. Go check him out. Beerandbigd.com. Mad props to him.
And like always, I'll have a link to beerandbigd.com in our show notes. Like always. On that, let's get down to this movie, because wowzers. What a quacktastic time.
So I picked this one because I saw Guardians of the Galaxy this past weekend, and spoiler alert, Howard the Duck is in. He's been in every Guardians of the Galaxy movie thus far, so no surprise he's in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He does not play a huge part in it, but I saw Howard the Duck. I was like, we should see Howard the Duck. I did not know this, but this is the first ever feature-length Marvel film, like ever, from 1986.
I didn't know that either. And
Yeah.
honestly, I never even heard of this movie till you wanted to watch it. So
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, there have been TV movies that don't get it twisted. There have been TV movies. I know there's people out there who will want to correct me of like for the Hulk, for Thor, for
Right.
Captain America. But these were TV movies. These were not theatrically released. This is the first theatrically released Marvel film. Why they chose Howard the Duck, I know not.
Yeah, that's odd.
And they didn't even base this on the comics. They just took the character IP and they made this movie, and they stuck on some also lesser known villains, like at the very end. And we can discuss that more. But George Lucas, this is like one of the big films from Lucasfilm in the 80s, and so you can tell that he was not firing on all cylinders after Return of the Jedi. So
He was tired.
yeah, between that and Indiana Jones, George was just taking a break for a little bit.
Yeah. He said, let's just do something about a duck.
Mhm.
So the budget for this was 37 million, and they made 37 million pretty much 37.9 million. So they
lost money.
yeah, so I mean they sort of made money, but not enough.
No, it's like that cost of the movie does not count all the advertising they did. I remember there being a lot of advertising, vaguely.
Oh yeah.
But I remember there being advertising.
I mean, it has some really good actors in here, that's for sure. We have Lee Thompson, Jeffrey Jones, Tim Robbins, of course, Ed Gale as Howard.
Yeah, our good old boy Q3 from LifePod as Howard the Duck.
Yeah. Tim Rose, which if you remember, which I don't know if many will remember, he plays in Star Wars the classic "It's a trap" guy.
Oh, that's right. He was he used Admiral Akbar.
Yeah. I know there's other people that are more recognizable now, but whatever. Anyways, so Anthony, give us the quick little breakdown about this movie, and then we'll chit chat about it.
All right,
Not that we haven't been chit chatting, but
let's get to business here. Where is my synopsis? My synopsis is as follows. Where is it? Where is it? I'm just buying time here. Okay. Got it. Got it. Come on.
you can do it.
Yeah, I wish I could do it. All right. So the short story is a sarcastic humanoid duck is pulled from his homeworld to Earth, where he must stop an alien invasion with the help of a nerdy scientist and a struggling female rock singer. I feel like that just doesn't describe it all that well. A few kids try to keep him from the greedy scientist and help him back to his planet, but much less friendly being arrives through the beam as well. And this is like the plot summary on this is not good.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Howard the Duck. A duck the size of a human child is accidentally brought to Earth through a laser beam in an experiment being performed by Cleveland scientist Dr. Walter Jennings. It's always a sinister name when during the course of these movies in the 80s. And his assistant Phil Blumbert. That is also not true. Or it ends up in Cleveland, of all places. Were you surprised that he ended up in Cleveland?
That was pretty odd.
Yeah, I was like, this is an interesting choice. Where he rescues singer Beverly Schweitzer from a group of thugs. Beverly and Phil, I feel like that's like kind of like an ism of like the late 80s, early 90s, because that happened. Didn't something similar happen in Terminator?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Beverly and Phil are friends, loosely. And when the government is told about Howard, she helps Phil and Dr. Jennings hide Howard from the authorities until they can get him back home, I guess. But then an evil being arrives through the laser beam that takes possession of Dr. Jennings' body, putting Howard, Beverly, and Phil in a fight for their lives. Man, Ryan, we need to go and write an accurate synopsis for this movie.
It's all you. It's all you.
This is not catching it very well.
Mm.
But yeah, long story short, Howard the Duck's living his life. He's got a copywriting job in New Duckburg, Cleve Duck, whatever you want to call it. I forget what city he's originally from, but he gets sucked in a laser via 1980s space laser to Earth into Cleveland, where he tries to find a job, or he's trying to get back to Duckburg. I'm going to call it Duckburg.
There you go.
But he can't. So we've spent the first 3/4 of the movie with him just trying to acclimate to life in Cleveland. And then the last 25% of the movie is everything else, where he's trying to get back. Dr. Walter Jennings is taken over by an evil demon, I think.
Yeah.
And then they try to bring other scorpion demons back to Earth to take over other humans' bodies, Invasion of the Body Snatcher style, I guess. But they shoot lasers at them and they blow them up in the end. Also, Howard the Duck becomes a bank manager.
Yeah.
But that's after everything else. So,
and is dating a human.
I really don't want to know how that works.
I was worried we're going to see how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, even for the 1980s, they got pretty got pretty close to it, but I was like, nah, they can't do that. I watched this as a kid. There couldn't have been anything like that.
It was very, very close to where I was just like, this feels like I shouldn't be watching this. And it's my thought of like, how is this PG? But I know
there was even topless, there was topless duck lady.
That
was funny.
Yeah. It was weird. It was interesting. It was a weird movie.
Yeah.
I at one point
I'm like, did they have their options for what Marvel movie are we gonna make? You want to do the Hulk again? No. Lou Ferrigno. It's like Captain America? No. Red Brown. He did a terrible job with that. We're not gonna do that. How about Howard the Duck? Kids like ducks. Let's do that movie. But also make it very sexy.
Very sexy and sexist.
Yes.
There were, as at one point, my wife she was doing her puzzle. I'm like, I feel like I took an edible today. Like there's just points of this movie where I'm like, this is just wild. I kind of feel a little confused of what's happening, especially the weird twist of they figure out, oh yeah, we can send them back, blah blah blah. They get there, and then it's all of a sudden a whole different movie. Honestly, it's we pretty much get two movies in one with Howard the Duck.
I feel like it was a part 1 and part 2 scenario there. It's maybe what this was originally supposed to be a 2-part pilot for a TV show. But yeah, the first part's all about him just figuring out how to live on Earth and kind of accepting the fact that he's never going to leave. And then he gets the chance to leave and he's all about it, but he's got to fight aliens.
Yeah.
Because they accidentally get sucked up in the laser incidentally as well.
But I mean, even though it was strange, it was weird, literally felt like I was on a trip at times, it was still interesting. I did definitely, there was a few times where I kind of zoned out a little bit, but I feel like it kind of quickly got my attention back because you quickly learned you have no idea what's going to happen in this movie.
Right.
Right off the bat is the wild where oh, you kind of see, oh, Howard has family and apparently is with a lot of other duck ladies, and because he's listening to his voicemail, and then all of a sudden he gets sucked into our world, and then just all the shenanigans. And I was like, okay, so this is gonna be a movie where you you just don't know what's going to happen. So you kind of want to pay attention to even the slower scenes that were there.
It's just random.
It was the most random, fun random though. Like, yeah, it was very weird. I keep saying that. It was just odd.
I'm just wishing this had done well enough that they made a sequel, and it was like the sequel was they add like Rocket Raccoon. He gets sucked into Earth with a different laser.
We start just adding other animated animals.
Yeah, just other Marvel animals, because like you can get like Rocket Raccoon, you can get Beta Ray Bill, you can get you can start incorporating High and Evolutionary that was in this most recent Guardians of the Galaxy, and all the Manimals and all that fun stuff from Marvel. This would be a very different comic book movie landscape if this movie was successful, I gotta say.
I honestly feel like if they were to either remake or make a second one, I think it would do well now.
Oh, I think so too. It's fun. It's funny because I was actually I was in the watching the movie, and I asked Alexa who voiced Howard the Duck, and I thought I was asking about who the current Howard the Duck in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Endgame, all that stuff. It's currently Seth Green who voices the current Howard the Duck. The one you see, like I think he's most prominently featured in What If, in the cartoons. But Chip Zien was the original one, which I couldn't tell you anything else this guy has done. But I think that if they did a Howard the Duck featured Howard the Duck feature, or even like a special, I think that people would dig it, because Howard the Duck is like still a man about town. He's still like a very, very cosmopolitan gentleman, so to speak. So,
oh, he's in Ghosts apparently.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, but I've not seen that show, so I would not know.
You haven't seen Ghosts?
No, it's on my list, but I never gotten to it.
Oh man, that's like a religion here at this house. But no, I do agree that like whether it was a special or they're like, let's do something with Howard the Duck, I would watch it. Because granted, this was what, 1986. So I feel like for a 1986 movie, like I would have probably loved this movie. I thought I could see me being like, I thought that would be so fun. Just like, it's crazy. It's a duck living in our world, doing crazy human things, like, and then fighting aliens.
Right.
So it's just like
a weird, creepy alien at the end. It's like, it's funny because in the end there, when he's getting like dragged by they shoot the tail. The monster's able to shoot the tail that grabs shit, and it's like he slices the grabber, and I was like, I would just have like just a image in my brain of that from when I was a kid, and it's like, because he's like, I remembered him calling it like slicing the salami, and it's like weird ass things you remember from watching these things.
Yeah. But I think they should do a new one. I don't think it should be a reboot. I think we should get a number 2, where somehow those aliens find a way to come to Earth or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's funny because I was like Googling the movie and the universe. So Howard the Duck, this movie has its own universe in the MCU, and this is Earth 58470, which our MCU is supposedly like Earth 670 or 870 or something like that. So hey, we could see when they eventually do the Kang Dynasty and all those movies, whenever basically all the realities merge into one, we could see this Howard the Duck make a return.
That would be great. I'd be all for that.
It's like I was joking at the end of this movie. I was like, we could I was like kind of like reflexively waiting for a post-credit scene. I was like, the next movie that came after this, next feature-length Marvel movie that came after this was Blade. So, but I was like, that was 8 years later. So,
Yeah, they took a good break.
yeah.
All right. So, what is something that you disliked most about Howard the Duck, the movie, not just him?
So what I dislike the most is that they take so long to get to the plot of this movie. Half to 2/3 of this movie is just, hey, this guy's a little tiny duck, and he lives on Earth. What would that be like? And we basically just kind of follow him through all those little hijinks. Again, this is just like,
Yeah.
he works like in the worst parts of society in the 80s. He works for this like brothel, hot tub, spa grossness.
Yeah.
And as a water expert,
Somehow. Because he's a duck.
he knocks a guy into a tub filled with shit.
It was mud.
I can only assume it is full of shit.
I'm pretty sure it was mud.
Mud? Okay. Oh, was it a mud bath? Okay, I wasn't paying attention. I just thought it was like, I was like, man, this is just a tub full of shit.
It was never said, but I'm just sticking with it was a mud bath.
Okay. Either way, it looked gross.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I didn't understand that purpose of that whole part of the movie because he like, the Leah Thompson's character is trying to help him, and then he gets mad at her and he leaves. He goes on this whole sojourn where he like tries to find his own job, and then he ends up coming back and then beating up her manager and then coming back to work with them. And so we go through this whole loop that really ultimately produces nothing, and then we get back on with the plot.
Yeah, it was so they could do more sex scenes, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess that was a requirement. Like the Porky's was really big at the time, so I guess they had to have some kind of nonsense like that going on.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of my complaint as well. Even though it was fun and goofy and all that kind of stuff, it did bug me how there was a lot of nothing. And like you said, there's a lot of like here's the movie, but then they take us on like these huge loops to get to the other side of the movie that wasn't necessary, because it's like,
it'd be one thing if he picked up some skill or learned something that helped him during the last part of the movie. It was like, oh, because he worked in this hot tub facility or in this hot tub brothel or whatever, he was able to defeat the bad guy because he knew this thing or he recognized this thing.
Yeah.
But none of it served any purpose.
No, it really didn't. And it was weird because, I mean, why? I don't know. It really did just feel like we're going to take this huge loop so we can do a weird, funny sex scene area. Like, because, in that hot tub area, like everybody's doing it. And it was just strange. It was just very, very strange.
Yeah.
And also just the strange turn of like I mean, I liked it and I didn't like the whole introducing of the aliens. I just think that was a odd turn. It kind of gave me Men in Black vibes, the aliens did. So I don't know. Like, it was, it's hard because it's like I didn't like it and I kind of liked it at the same time because it was still like silly stuff. It was still funny and kind of entertaining, but it was still like we could have cut out, so this movie is like an hour and 50 minutes. You could have made it an hour and a half by just cutting out just the ridiculous things that overall didn't necessarily add anything to the movie. So, with that said, though, what is something that you liked about the movie?
So I hate saying this because Jeffrey Jones is actually a pretty terrible, he's a pretty terrible person in real life. But I really enjoyed his caricature as he was like slowly being taken over by like the monster. And slowly becoming like the like they did the makeup effects were really good too. I mean, would you expect that with a George Lucas production where like they have Lucasfilm and Skywalker Studios, Skywalker Ranch and Skywalker Studios and all this other stuff doing this work. They did a really good job with it, but I feel like Jeffrey Jones did a really good job portraying the Dark Overlord character, and just kind of like destroying shit. It was sardonic and funny, but also threatening. And I felt like he kind of he's always in these 1980s movies played like this kind of character where he's always kind of like the bad guy, kind of like a Tim Curry type actor, where he's like, you see him in the movie, he's like, oh, that guy's the bad guy. So he was able to switch roles between like the good Dr. Walter Jennings, but then the evil Dark Overlord as well. And I really enjoyed that kind of like duality of his character, where he was able to kind of bounce between the two as necessary. So I really enjoyed Jeffrey Jones acting in this movie. All the scenes in the which I do feel like they spent too long in the diner, but the Cajun sushi breakfast diner, I felt like him as he's like just newly being taken over by the Dark Overlord. I felt like that was just hilariousness, because I think Howard and Leah Thompson's character weren't believing. They thought he was just having a mental break, I guess. But like he was like also being like a whiny little asshole, even though he was like this Dark Overlord, because he's like complaining about them taking his eggs away from him. But then he also blows up like the ketchup and mustard to show that he has like superpowers, I guess. But yeah, my favorite part of the movie was that characterization, though. I felt like he did a really good job kind of acting out once the plot got moving. I felt like he did a really good job just kind of like carrying out that role as the ultimate big bad.
I mean, I agree too, and it does always suck that like why do good actors have to be terrible people? Like, come on. But I would have to say my favorite part is the movie kept me on my toes. I truly like, you know, there are certain points where you kind of knew it was going to happen, of course, but a lot of the times or at least for me, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen after this turn.
I feel like this is a secret. It's something, nothing, something. So you expect nothing for like the middle part of the movie, and then stuff happens. So you think it's just gonna kind of peter out and have nothing happen for the rest of the movie, but then like it just has this big ending scene. Hey, I think this may be the first occasion of Sky Laser. Or Skybeam.
Oh, yeah.
This may have been the first. We got to check this and see if this is the first time Skybeam has been like the ending scene for a movie. I'm really curious because like a Skybeam is like an ending for all these other movies. I'm wondering if there's been Skybeam before this, or if this is the first happenstance of Skybeam ending a movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, though. And I think that's kind of what I liked is like, oh, you think they're just going to get to this place and send them back? Well, here's a twist. Or like, oh, you think this? Well, this actually happens. And so on top of like, it was goofy. Like the whole thing was just goofy. And I don't know, it kept it kind of light.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it felt like a nice, ridiculously stupid but light movie.
I gotta say that the movie never took itself seriously. Like during the course of the entire movie, it was never serious at all. Nobody ever seemed like super threatened. None of the villains seemed super threatening, maybe until the very end.
Even then, he was saying goofy, weird things that were just like, okay, like he's a goof, you know? Like,
yeah, it's like even like the big scary scorpion monster. He's like, it's like, what is he, like a 14-year-old?
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of like that. I felt it felt like a different twist on this kind of movie. So
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. Um, all right. So let me pull up Letterbox, which is of course a app where you can rate all the movies. So we have our own Letterbox, which you can find at Let's Do a Podcast. And now we are going to rate Howard the Duck between 1 and 5 stars. So Anthony, what would you give this movie?
I would give this the first cinematic outing, the first theatrical outing for Marvel, a 3.5. I feel like it was a good, strong effort. Technically good. The graphics for the 1986 timeframe in which it occurred were well executed, to be expected from Lucasfilm. Plot leaves something to be desired. They could have eliminated a good 20 minutes out of the middle of this movie, and it would have tightened it up quite a bit. They had plenty of source material. They could have just braced this movie up. But this is also 1980s scripting, so
Yeah.
some parts of this movie just don't age well, but other parts of this movie age very well. So, but that's just my thoughts on that. It's a 3.5 is what this gets for me. It's like 50% still good, 50% like what were you thinking?
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I think 3.5 is perfect
Mm-hmm.
for all the same reasons. I don't think I have much else to actually add to it. So, so if you have nothing else to do, like if you're cleaning the house or doing the dishes, throw the movie on. It's not
Yeah.
one you need to sit there and be focused. I think it's a good background movie to kind of be watching while you do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there you go, Anthony. Where are you at on your beer?
I'm just about done.
Okay, cool. Well, I finished mine up, which is of course the logarithm, logarithm, whatever.
Logarithm.
Um,
Logarithm.
it stayed honestly really really good. If this is
Good.
this is one I would, if I see this out and about, which I probably won't because it's from New Jersey, and I think they're kind of a smaller place. This is one I would probably get if it's like I want to have like if I know I'm gonna have a few drinks throughout the day. So,
Yeah, you
'cause
can't beat it with was it, you were saying like what, a 4.2?
uh, something like that. Let's see. It is 4.6. So yeah,
4.6. Yeah. So it's not super strong. So you can have a
yeah,
few of those. Yeah.
and it's very flavorful. I was very surprised. So
Which is not,
it's
yeah,
a good
which
one.
you don't expect for a Pilsner, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think about yours, Anthony?
Mine is good. It's as to be expected with a triple dry hop, triple IPA. It's got the bitterness. It had me really missing with the flavor. It really had me wishing I could have more of the Super Mosaic, if you remember that one.
Of course.
Yeah, that I remember. I was drinking this and it reminded me of that, and I feel like the fullness of the flavor there. Not to say this isn't good. I did like the nerd alert there. I'd give it a 4 on the score there, but I really had me missing the triple mosaic. It's triple mosaic wasn't dry hopped at all, but I really wish I could have some of that now. But I don't know. I don't think they've made that since is legalized
Yeah.
buying cans at breweries. So
Yeah. I forgot to rate mine. I'd actually do a 4.5.
4.5, nice.
Yeah. I feel like for a Pilsner, this is probably my favorite Pilsner I've ever had. So,
That's great.
um, so with that said, we've rated beer, we've rated the movie, talked about the movie, we talked about events, we talked about upcoming movies. Now let's talk about our thing of the week before we get out of here. I will go first. So, as y'all know, we watched Stargate, the movie,
A movie.
and it got that itch going. So, I have been going through the series again. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through this series, but between recording the last one and recording this, I've already finished the first season of the first Stargate.
So having watched this again, is this the first time you've done a rewatch, or is this a subsequent rewatch?
This is probably rewatch at least number 4.
All right. So how is it holding up?
Okay, so the first season, it's good because it's Stargate, but it's so
Mhm.
bad because it's like a TV series of Stargate at that time. Like it's everything's so props, you can tell, and like they have knives, or like you can tell it's like the fake knives kind of shit, you know. It's great.
It's funny with
Um
shows like that you like when they get like better resources towards the end, like towards the latter portions of the series, that you see like how what they started with, and you're like, my God, this is
yeah.
crap compared to what they ended with.
Um yeah, I just finished, I think I just finished the first season actually today. Um it's just fun. It's fun to go through. It kind of I guess I forgot that it pretty much takes over for where you left off in a sense. Now
Right,
it's
because
just
we do
like,
have like James Spader's character who's played by a different actor. He comes back in the show, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's just like 5 years later or 10 years later, whatever it is, like X amount of years later. I think it was actually like, was it only a year later? I can't remember. But anyways, it was like, oh, a year later, and then that's where you pick up. So it's a pretty current thing, and it's fun though. It's fun to go through. I also, well, so I've been I've been watching that while I'm working, which, you know, it's just like
Mhm.
sitting there on that edge. It's kind of just noise. And whenever I clock out, it's like I go into the living room and I'm watching one of the other Stargate series, which is Stargate Universe, which is whenever they're on a ship kind of stuck out in the universe. Um, I finished that as well. And so now I'm on Stargate Atlantis for my outside of work shows to watch.
So not doing a chronological watch, are we?
I'm not, and sometimes it's a little confusing because like something happens and they go to like the Atlantis or whatever. And you're like, wait, okay, so wait, where is this and what I'm watching now? Like, um, so my thing of the week is if you haven't seen it but you love the movie Stargate, start the series. It's obviously it's, you know, it's old. It's definitely old, so it looks that, but it's a fun uh season to go through so far. I can't wait to start season 2.
How
Um
many seasons did they go to with SG1?
uh I'm not too sure, but I do know that I have all the way to season 10 recorded.
Wow.
Because whenever after we did the episode, I looked on YouTube TV because I was like, oh, I wonder if they still run it, and they do. So I just have it recording all of them.
I need to
Just
do that.
because,
I guess I just need to watch this.
yeah, you really just get it started. So like, go over there, just put your YouTube TV, just record Stargates, and then just start from there because they air them randomly. So like, pretty much every day they release, they rerun like three or four new Stargates. So it's like, okay, cool. So by the time you decide to sit down and watch them, you'll be able to start from season 1 because that's what I did.
Nice.
Because they used to have them on Amazon Prime, but they took down the original Stargate SG1, but they have everything else.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but they did. So, anyways, there's mine. Anthony, what do you have for us?
So, keeping with the theme of the movie and the reason I did this movie, my thing of the week is James Gunn. So, James Gunn, if you keep track of things, so he is the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is just entered theaters. Again, highly recommend watching it. He did Peacemaker, but he is now the guy who's running. He's basically the Kevin Feige now for DC, the DC cinematic universe. So DC, DCCU, I don't know what they're going to call it. He's currently in the course of there's the writer's strike going on right now, but he just submitted the first draft for Superman Legacy, which is the new Superman movie that's coming out for the new reset DC universe. But this guy has been like on a freaking winning streak, gotta say, for probably the past like 20 years or so. I mean, this guy's done like the Scooby-Doo movies, like the like cinematic Scooby-Doo movies, like Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed. He wrote those movies. Like, this guy's been writing movies for a long time, and these have been like bangers of movies. He started back with like Trauma Films, which you remember when we did Nukem High? Yeah, he like wrote he started with those guys writing films. Like, so this guy is like started in our territory, like in B movie territory, and he's like climbed his way out of B movie territory to like the point where he's at now. Like, he wrote like Slither, he wrote Dawn of the Dead, like he's got like writing credits and all these things. He wrote one of my favorite like indie superhero movies. It's called Super, featuring Rainn Wilson. Have you ever seen this movie?
I don't think so.
I recommend checking it out. It's a violent movie. It's kind of it's interesting, but it's also slightly disturbing. But Rainn Wilson's in it. Rainn Wilson and formerly Ellen Page, now Elliot Page, is also in it. I highly recommend that movie. But he before he like all that stuff leading up to when he started writing the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and kind of getting into that territory of MCU, Belko Experiment, stuff like that. This guy's like got so many great writing credits to his name, so many great directorial credits to his name. But James Gunn, my thing of the week, he's been like killing it for like the past 15-20 years, and he's just like on like we're in like entering the James Gunn renaissance. We've been in it, and we're like going into it even further. I think he's still on a streak, I feel like. And so I'm looking forward to what he's coming out with. I'm happy to see. I was a DC fan before I was a Marvel fan, and so I'm eager to see what he's going to do with the Marvel universe. He seems like he's like a true fan of this stuff, and so he's going to take good care of the IP. And so I'm looking forward to it. So my thing in the week is James Gunn. He's killing it.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that is all the things. So let's wrap it up. So you can follow us over at Facebook at Let's Do a Podcast, Twitch a podcast. I can't remember.
Go figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's Let's Go Twitch a Pod. Nope. I still said it wrong.
There's no going there.
I still said it wrong. Let's Twitch a Pod. YouTube at Let's Do a Podcast. On Letterboxd, Let's Do a Podcast. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you have any movie recommendations, please let us know. If there's also a beer you would like either one of us to try, let us know. Till then, I guess that's it, right?
I think we've hit everything. We hit all the marks.
We did all the things. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. And let's end a podcast.
Yeah.
Bye.